and it is 8 o'clock here, so 7 o'clock in UK. So that's the start of the session, and let's begin. So, welcome everybody. It's great to have you here, and I know that more and more people are going to keep pouring in to this interestingly titled presentation called The Power of Negative Thinking. And this is all about looking at those secret negative thoughts that we've all got, and yet we're told in the personal development industry to try and avoid them. There's that massive idea that we have to stay positive, think positive, be positive, and it's quite a it does work for some people, but for many others it doesn't. And so for those of us who are probably just about everybody, who rather than having to bury those negative thoughts and the difficult feelings that can go along with them, I'm going to share some ways that you can actually explore and use them to your advantage, because after all, they are part of your makeup. They're part of what's going on in your life. And yeah, so I think they are important to explore. Okay, so yeah, so this is what we're going to be looking at today. This is what I'm going to deliver. We're going to, first of all, we're going to look at why positive thinking, the mainstay of the personal development industry for many years, with the positive thinking movement being a very big part of that, of personal development, the law of attraction type industry. Yet is it toxic? Is this positive thinking actually dangerous, and can it stop you getting what you want? I'm going to explain why that is and show you how that can be. Seems odd. We'll look at how to restore the balance to the Force, like the Jedi. They are interested in universal balance, embracing the entire range of thoughts and feelings, even those so-called nasty negative ones. Hi to everyone who's just joining. I'm periodically looking at the chat. Great to see so many people I know here, and also lots of new, I was going to say new faces, new names and new words in any case. So yeah, more and more people piling in, as we'd expect. So we'll just continue looking at this. So yeah, so we're looking at how to restore balance to the Force, keeping in balance. We'll look at some simple techniques that make it easy to take action. This is going to be the first tapping technique that I'm going to share with you, which is really designed to help you to stop procrastinating or reduce procrastination, because if you're anything like me, procrastination is a wonderful part of your life where you do a lot of your reflective and creative work. And but we're going to look at ways that you can move through it and take action even when you're experiencing these difficult emotions such as fear and worry. So that's going to be the first tapping session. I'm going to explore some ways that you can really emotionally and mentally get aligned with your objectives. Again, stop procrastinating and actually really enjoy getting what you want. Now, how good would it be? That would be great, wouldn't it? To be able to really enjoy getting what you want, and not being a chore, not being a difficult thing. And at the end, we're going to do some EFT tapping and guided visualization exercises to go even deeper and explore the beliefs that are keeping you stuck, or maybe keeping you stuck. And we're going to look at layers of beliefs. So the day-to-day thoughts and beliefs that you've got, going down deeper to all 3 layers of beliefs I'm going to be exploring. So I'm also going to share with you at the end. If you stick around to the end, you'll get the worksheet that goes with the power of negative thinking process, as well as that tapping and guided visualization exercise. And I think that this is probably going to run for about an hour depending on if we've got lots of questions, which I will try and keep questions to the end for this. Then I would say that we will be going on for probably about 80, 90 minutes, possibly, if we get lots of questions. So yeah, we'll just see how that goes. Okay, right, so this is it's beautiful, isn't it? Some positive thinking. You know, if life was like this, light, floaty, just letting everything go and just trusting that all is going to manifest your way. And yeah, I mean, that would be great. And sometimes life can feel like that. This is actually a slide from my first protocol power of negative thinking presentation that I did in the Yes group several years ago in Bristol. And you know, it's nice to have these positive thoughts, and especially thinking about the future that you want to create, or about what you might be able to manifest in your life. And positive thinking is useful, don't get me wrong, there is a real place for it, and we're going to come on to that in a bit. But there's a problem with positive thinking. It is, you know, look on the bright side, be optimistic, and focus on your dreams. That's really interesting. Focus on your dreams. Visualize what you want. Imagine you've already got the thing that you want. Something we hear in meditations, guided visualizations very regularly. And I think, well, we'll come on to that in a bit and see how valuable that actually is. There are some people who we've probably all met them, the ultra positives, and this stuff seems to really work for them, and they seem to bounce through life and like Tigger, boing, and you know, things really happening for them. And what if it's not like that for you? So you see these see people online, on Facebook, on the internet, and they've got their mechanisms. They might be encouraging you to always look to the positive. You see it in law of attraction groups all the time. Stay away from the negative, like negative is poison, but it's just not true. And you can even start feeling guilty about your negative thoughts, starting to compile more and more negativity onto the what you've already got, like a downward spiral. So yeah, just want to say hi to people who are still joining. Great to have you here. I can't see all the chat as it comes through all the time, but periodically I will catch it. So if I've missed you, then that's because of the way that this new system is working. So yeah, so you can end up, if you're trying to focus on positive things all the time, in a downward spiral. And yeah, it's not really what we want when we're trying to create what we want in life. And you know, there is, so although this is called the power of negative thinking, this talk, and also the exercises that we're going to do in a bit, you know, it is possible, you know, if you end up dwelling in negative thinking and dwelling in the feelings that come up from it, then that can be problematic. So we're going to look at how to avoid that. Okay, so talked about this a bit already. Positive visualization, which has been a big part of the positive thinking movement since it really kicked off. Focus on your dreams. Seems to make sense that what you focus on, you will get. Of course, anything that you want to create in life has to start with a thought. But if you are overwhelmingly focused on those positive thoughts, those positive feelings, then there is a bit of an issue. And the issue is with the subconscious mind and how it actually works. Because you see, it doesn't really differentiate between what happens in reality and thoughts. So you can get triggered by a thought if you think about something that you dread, or think about something that you have experienced in your life. It can re-trigger you into difficult situations, and those of us who already are familiar with EFT are well aware of that. However, on the other side, it can also, if you think extremely positively all the time, and you're only looking at the positive when relating to your objectives, goals in your life, then that can destroy motivation. It can actually stop you from moving towards what it is that you want. The reason is that if you really focus the classic positive visualization of really getting into the feeling and the space of being in the situation or experiencing the thing that you already want, it actually can give you, at a subconscious level, a sense that you have already achieved whatever that thing is. Now, that can be that, of course, can cause some challenges. As you can see by this guy, he might be visualizing too hard, thinking positively, and he has ended up with well, he's happy, he's sat in his desk in his office, but he's not really gone anywhere. He's not on the tropical holiday that he is envisioning. Just seen someone's Lindy saying cannot connect. There will be a replay, so I'm just going to type that in case you can't hear me. Okay. And yes, so too much positive thinking, you might think you've already reached a destination, and subconsciously give yourself a the feeling of having achieved or created the outcome that you desire in your life without it actually happening. So how can negative thinking help me? This was actually looked at by a psychologist called Gabriela Oettinger, and she wrote a book, Rethinking Positive Thinking, where she did 20 years of study and actually into how negative thinking is valuable for people. What she found was, when she looked at people who think negatively while trying to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, is that it works better for them. So it creates contrast. What does that mean? It gives the brain, and it gives you subconsciously actually something to work on, rather than just focusing on the dream and everything being smiles and sunshine and wonderful, which is nice. You know, we all need some of that, definitely. It gives this dose of reality, so gives you the almost like the sticking points that you need to find a way to move beyond if you are going to create what it is that you want in life. So yeah, it creates a path to the outcome. So, yep, it's been really interesting what she found, that the it's about thinking positively to create the desire, create the dream, and then thinking negatively to actually understand the reasons why it might not happen, and use that information to start creating a way forwards. Now, that's great, but one of the problems with thinking negatively and focusing on all of your problems is it's scary. It can bring some very difficult feelings up, and these feelings can really hold you back, because, as we know, it's pretty much everything that you do in life is to either avoid feeling a certain way or to move towards feeling a certain way that you want. So if you are if you're feeling if your feelings are holding you back, that can cause a real problem. So the good news about that is we've got tapping, which we're going to come on to in a moment, which is a key part of actually releasing yourself from craving or aversion. Someone said, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. You can either be moving towards a craving. It can be a desire as well. It could be whatever feels fun, whatever feels happy, warmth to you. So it could be any of those things. And yeah, we're going to look at a process combining all of that. So yeah, a few people saying that they can't seem to log on. Don't know why, but there will be a replay going out. So yes, we're going to take you through that process. And by the way, I think it's just one of the many ways that negative thinking is valuable. It's really part of our makeup to have these negative thoughts. So as well as being able to use them as ways to move towards what it is in our life, it can also be you can use these negative thoughts. Negative thinking might come up. It can keep you safe. That's a major reason for negative thinking for many people. Although we don't live in such a dangerous world as we did when, back when in prehistoric times, where, we were naturally wired to think negatively more than positively because it was very dangerous. Negative thinking can help you to feel safe, and negative feelings about situations as well can encourage you to create boundaries. If you're not got good boundaries in your life, not respecting yourself in that way of actually creating space for yourself, and being able to say no to people when it's appropriate, then negative thinking could show you that you're on that track. So there's lots of ways that I think negative thinking, negative feeling is useful. But today we're going to look at how you use it to start moving towards the outcomes that you desire. And wouldn't it be great if you could move more towards these outcomes that you desire without having to clear all of your negative thoughts and just be this pillar of positive thinking? So before we do that, I just want to introduce myself a bit more. I think many of you know me already, but just where we are now. So I'm largely pretty happy in life. I fulfill a lot of the things that I find valuable. My values. I'll talk about values a bit later on. I've had some great experiences in my life. We travel as a family. Yeah, I know it's a Christmas photo. But I happen to like it, and I enjoyed this time. We we travel and we're creating great experiences together, and finding wonderful educational opportunities for our son, and and in time that will be for our daughter as well, even while traveling. And they are places that they can go and be educated, alternative schools. So there are it's not a case that we were able to start thinking in a different way and create this really exciting life. I've got a lifestyle business. I now work with people all over the world, individually and in groups, helping them with their health, helping them with achieving the things that they desire in their life. And came from quite a difficult time in some ways to get to this. Now, it wouldn't necessarily sound difficult to everybody, because I was a company director of a fairly successful financial firm, but I was absolutely miserable. It was so far out of my comfort zone, or rather so far out of line with my values. In fact, it was a comfort zone. It was a comfort zone that I was stuck in, but I just didn't know how to get out of it until I discovered EFT tapping, basically, and that's enabled me to create this life that I'm living now, which I really like, love. And also, one of the most amazing things about it, holistic therapies and tapping enabled me to become a dad. So I was told by my doctor that I wasn't going to be, and I started down a holistic path, and now I've got, as you can see, two beautiful children, both born home birthed, and came along in the traditional way. So that was absolutely great, and real, for me, just absolute evidence of holistic practices working very effectively. So yeah, it's been a great journey, and all the way through the times in Bristol. And again, I guess this is where I need to come on to my guilty secret, which not a lot of people know, and that is I'm one of them. Maybe you might be one of them too. A negative thinker. I really run. It's quite strange to say this, but I've always got an energy of it's all going to go wrong going on. It's a big driver for me in my life. It actually enables it. It actually is quite a creative energy. Things like, we'll run out of money. The worst one of all, I'll have to get a job. You can imagine that. Now, people are going, shock horror. Nah, I'm sure you're being sarcastic, but actually, this is, I think, negative. I read that differently. Yeah, you can be a negative thinker and not be unhappy. So negative thinking doesn't make me unhappy. They're not the same thing. People associate negative thinking with negative feelings, and it can come along with negative feelings. In fact, scratch that. There's no such thing as a negative feeling. All feelings are giving you some guidance that you are either on a right track, or there's something that you need to pay attention to. And people, some people just aren't driven by positive thinking, because when I'm happy, I'm not. When I'm happy and there's nothing that I need to change, I'm lazy. And maybe you might see that as well. It's kind of when the feet start getting a bit hot, when the fire is getting close, that is when you start moving towards, moving away from. So I'm probably one of those people who is more motivated by pain, or moving away from pain, although I have quite a high threshold for pain as well. Moving away from pain and moving towards pleasure, I do enjoy the pleasure and enjoyment of life, of course. But yeah, it's easier to stay in your comfort zone, said Steve. And my comfort zone is pretty comfortable. I live in a really nice place at the moment. Got a lot of freedom in life already. So it's only when things start to get challenging in life that I have to, and my thoughts are like, right, I need to do something about that. I have to move, I have to do something about it. And I know that most people are like that, from working with probably, it's either close to or a bit over 1,000 people. Most people are like this. Most people are like this. Even, or perhaps especially in the tapping world, for all of the positivity and abundance and everything that they put out there on Facebook. Even the big players, I know that they, why do you think people got into tapping in the first place? Basically, you don't get into this particular line of what we do, actually exploring feelings and going into depth in life, if you are overwhelmingly happy all the time. Because, why would you? If everything was going rosy in your life and you were fully content and you hadn't had some sort of crisis that you were obsessively thinking about, then, why would you get into a fast, effective emotional processing tool that you can use to actually start to transform that stuff? So yeah, but the good news is tapping really works for this. And yeah, so I'm taking things to the wire before acting. And yeah, if it wasn't for the last minute, nothing would ever get done sometimes. But that can be really good. That actually, we need stress in our life. Otherwise you wouldn't even get out of bed. So one of the earlier things it talked about was balance, and I think that's really important. Right, okay, so yeah, well, before we get onto the tapping, I just want to look at some challenging personal development beliefs. Now, this is one that's very dominant in my line of work, big with, certainly in matrix reimprinting, EFT, resolve the root cause, and the behavior will change. Now, yeah, so many of the processes that we use are backwards looking, always looking for another memory, always looking for another old story, a little tiny belief that was formed in a moment. And the idea that if you resolve the root cause, the behavior will change. Now, I love these processes. I love EFT. I love matrix reimprinting. Love all of the tapping techniques. But what I've found, and what I've especially been exploring with people more recently, is actually moving towards the future rather than always searching around the past. Hypnotherapy, I'm sure, does similar. You can resolve all of the stuff. You can resolve the stuff from the past. You can have an amazing session. I think maybe many of us have experienced this. You have an amazing tapping session, but the behavior still remains. And this comes down to the idea of morphogenic fields, that you create habits in your body. And once you've got a particular habit in place, a subconscious habit, it's very hard to shift that, especially, this could have been built up over 40, 50 years, whatever. That behavior pattern, it's very easy for that to come back. You might have an amazing session which clears your emotional attachment to the root cause of why you started smoking, whatever that was. But then, something happens, you just forget in a moment, and you're having a drink with some friends, and suddenly, before you know it, having a cigarette again. And like, whoa, how did that happen? I thought I cleared the root cause. So actually looking to start shifting those patterns and creating the future, really important. The other one is this idea that negative thinking ruins your ability to manifest. And I don't know if any of you are in any of the law of attraction groups or anything like that, but it's, it's The Secret, for example. Everyone's talking about thinking, talking about negative thoughts being the problem. I even saw Bruce Lipton saying it in a talk recently, that the negative thoughts are the problem, and it's not the negative thoughts that are the problem. It's the feeling that's attached to it. It's the energy and the emotion of the negative thought. The negative thoughts, without the emotion and the energy attached to them, are just thoughts, and they can be really useful, as we're going to come on to in a moment. It's the feelings that are important. And if you can hold negative thoughts, but you can be neutral to them or even positive towards them as steps towards creating what you want, then that can be very powerful. Okay, so forget looking at the root cause, look to manifesting how you want to be. I think you need to do both. I think look at the root cause, absolutely, really important to, and for some people, they're going to be absolutely stuck at that point. So it's really important to start looking at that, but then having the thing to move towards is super key as well, which is, part of this process that I'm going to share with you now. And I will give like I said, I'm going to, give the worksheet out for this process at the end, as well as doing the deeper tapping process, is the how to actually achieve objectives. Just one of the ways that I think that negative thinking is actually valuable. So we're going to be using some tapping, and isn't that lovely? All those nice sparkles. Don't know what was happening that day, but some nice, those are the tapping points. So I don't know if there's anyone on this call tonight who's not done any tapping. I sent out a tapping guide just to give people the basics of tapping, but we're going to just look at the very basics of tapping in a moment quickly. But I have to read this disclaimer. If we're doing any tapping where you are, as you all are sat at home or on the bus or wherever you are, obviously I'm not there with you. I don't know who's on the call. I don't know if you've got any specific, perhaps diagnosis, which might mean that you might want to consider just listening in rather than carrying out the exercise. But I just want to say that, as with any tapping, when you do it for self-help, please note that you need to take full responsibility for your physical and emotional health during this session. The techniques that we're using are experimental, and while they're usually very gentle and some people appear to have experienced excellent results, it's not possible to know in advance how an individual will respond. Tapping techniques may bring old memories and emotional responses to the surface, and this can feel very powerful. Remember, you're not obliged to share details of an event or memory, although you might wish to, and we'll be able to work on anything that comes up, whether you share the detail or want to keep it to yourself. Now, in actual fact, we're not going to be sharing detail tonight, or you certainly don't have to. If you want to in the comments, that's fine. But I'm going to run these as guided processes. So I'm going to guide you to do this in your own head where you are. And, it's because I think that one of the greatest things about tapping is using it as a self-help technique. So as with all practices, whether complementary or normal medical, psychological, results can't be guaranteed. And of course, don't ignore any medical advice, and your primary caregiver is always your GP. Okay, so let's just quickly go over how to tap. I'm just going to stop the slides for a moment so I'm not just a little guy in the corner. Right. So the key with tapping, as most of you know, is that you want to focus on feelings in your body when you think about specific things as you are tapping on specific points. Now, you can use the full range of tapping points, but I don't want to, if you're completely new to tapping, that might be too much to remember here. So I'm just going to teach you 3 points that you can tap around, or an alternative using your hand that you can use if you decide that you want to do this process. So if you just a simple tapping routine is the side of the eye, underneath the collarbone around there, and you can just tap it with your whole hand if you're a bit worried about being precise, and across the wrist, and then come back to the side of the eye, collarbone either side. You can do both sides if you want, again across the wrist. So this is a simple, very shortcut tapping round, but all of these points are crossing multiple meridian lines rather than just one. So you're actually hitting a lot of points at the same time doing that. Now, the other thing you can do, and I really like this, is this is actually a really good tapping routine as well. So tapping through just the tops of the thumb of the fingernails with your thumb, and you can tap back upwards again. And because you're tapping round 5 points, because you can come around and tap the thumb in the expert level way there, this is great because you can do this anywhere. This is on the bus, or if you're doing a presentation on stage, you've got this tapping that you can do without, unless you're doing a tapping presentation like I do, in which case you can be tapping all over. But those are just simple tapping routines, and what you're doing as you stimulate these acupuncture points while you focus on specific feelings is you're actually allowing your body to access those feelings and discharge them. So rather than pushing feelings away, you're letting them come up. So I'm just going to say, you might feel a bit more emotional as you tap, and that's okay because that emotion was actually there anyway. So if you want to tap and you want to go along with the process, then just use one of these, either the hand one, which I'm going to be doing, or you could do side of the eye, collarbone, across the wrist, hitting lots of tapping points all the way around. Or of course, if you know the full tapping routine, like many people do, then do whatever it is that you want to do. Someone saying you tap the side of the hand rather than the wrist. Yes, you can. If it's making you queasy, that's quite interesting. Might be something to explore within that. But maybe you can just do the side of the hand. Some people even just do the side of the hand. You can just do the collarbone point. I like to move around a few points. That's why I find the fingers is very good. So there's no right or wrong with this. Whatever the tapping is, so long as they are on tapping points, then it should be fine. Okay, right. So I'm just going to go back to the slides. Okay, just going to have a drink quickly. Okay. Right, so we are looking at how you can use we're going to use actually positive and negative thinking along with tapping to explore a single outcome. So what I want you to do is think about something that you want to happen in your life, something that you want to achieve. You can use this for massive things, but for this, let's just work on something that you would like to happen but hasn't happened in your life yet. So a single outcome, something that you could potentially do in the next 4 weeks or so, or something that could happen in the next 4 weeks, but it would be a challenge. And thinking about it, you can tell that there's a bit of difficulty there. So just spend a minute just thinking about what it is that you would like to do. Okay, so someone just said, can you please do the head routine again? So yeah, side of the eye, collarbone point, across the wrist, or the side of the hand. If it's the full head, it's top of the head, eyebrow, side of the eye, under the eye, top lip, bottom lip, collarbone point. And someone else asked, Angela's asked, are you meant to do both sides? You can do both sides. You don't have to. Some people like doing both sides. Some people like switching sides. It's pretty flexible, and really, you don't have to do it in any particular order. It's just the order is top to bottom because it is it's easier to remember that way. So yeah, so just think about something that you would like to happen in your life, something you'd like to create, something that you think could happen in the next 4 weeks, but it would be challenging for you. Down, or just have it in your head. And when you've got something, it's time to think positively. So just close your eyes, and I want you to just actually do that classic positive thinking exercise. And you can do this while you're tapping, or just relax and get into this. I want you to just imagine that you've already achieved whatever it is, whatever the objective, whatever it is you want to do or you want to happen. Just imagine that it's already happened. And as well as thinking about it, notice how it feels to have that. So we're talking about the feelings actually where they are in your body, so the location of the feeling, the emotion, if that feeling has a color, is it soft, is it warm? Okay, someone's already got a scary feeling coming up, so it feels scary. It could feel scary to get what we want, or maybe there's already those negative thoughts coming up, those negative feelings. So we'll come on to that in a minute. But yeah, you can write down what you're feeling. Yeah, when you think about actually having already got this thing, or yeah, or just hold it to yourself. That's fine. Just give you a few more moments to get into that feeling. Not going too deep here. Right, okay. So if you had your eyes closed, open them now. Crying with happiness, love it. And now what I want you to do is, while you're tapping, I want you to think of every reason why this isn't going to happen for you, every reason why you won't succeed, everything that could go wrong. So take a minute or so, just write down or think of as many reasons why it's not going to happen. Steve's feeling really tired. And maybe the thing that you're after is a good night's sleep. Is it my body resisting? Perhaps. But maybe this negative thinking part might liven you up a bit. Who knows? So take a minute or so and write down as many reasons that this isn't going to work for you as you can. And what I want you to do is, well, when you've got them, break those down into practical reasons and inner reasons. So practical reasons that you aren't able to get what it is that you want. So we're looking now for for the practical reasons that you're not going to be able to get what you want. Yes, so someone's saying this feels like a shadow side and really upsetting, focusing on the negative. Well, the shadow side is actually where it's a great place to go when you're looking to explore reasons that things aren't happening in your life, and actually accepting what's actually is there. It's one of the things that people say about tapping, because with EFT we always focus on the negative. So, but if you keep tapping while you focus on these upsetting feelings, then that can start to shift. And I want you to break it down into the practical reasons and then the inner reasons. So practical reasons are things like, I don't know how to build a website, or I haven't got a ladder, or whatever it is, whatever the actual, something that could be resolved by something practical happening. And then the inner reasons are the feelings. So looking at, things like someone wrote ill, tired, lazy. Those are actually inner reasons. Things that are, Rose hasn't got a ladder, I can see. Yeah, so pick what seems like the biggest inner reason and just start tapping. So I want you to focus on the inner reason. So let's say it is, I'm lazy, for example, or whatever it is for you, or I'm scared, or it feels difficult, or whatever it is. Just connect to that negative thought and just start tapping and focus on the feelings in your body that come up. So nothing useful to say, nothing useful to offer. So that's, there's a belief there, that's a thought. So as those, or everything that's coming up, all of these things, focus on it and just tap. We're going to do about a minute of tapping. Might do a few minutes, but just connect to those, connect to what you're feeling in your body. And you can do a tapping round. So the key to it is just getting the sensations in your body. So whatever it is, whatever you're afraid of, whatever your lack of belief is, whatever you feel about yourself, whatever you feel about the world, just notice how that feels in your body and bring all of your attention to it while you tap, rather than pushing it away, rather than denying it. Really connect to that. Easily distracted. How do you feel about being easily distracted? Now, this is the bit. This is the bit where you have to embrace those so-called negative feelings, the uncomfortable feelings, because they've been there anyway. We all have them anyway. And it's just that by acknowledging them and accepting them is the first step to starting to move beyond them. So we're going to go with, I'll speak an example of a round out, and you can say this sort of thing, or you can just be doing this by, I find that just by focusing totally on the feelings, you get really powerful results. But some people, so you might say something along the lines of, even though I feel sad when I think about this, I accept myself anyway, in spite of it all. So I'm going to do a tapping round with some of the things that people have said now. And you can either repeat it or just think and tap along with it. Okay, so I'm feeling stuck. I'm sad that I'm easily distracted. I'm scared I'll be rejected. Just notice again where that fear is. The fear. I can't do it. That feels heavy. I'm afraid I won't be accepted. I'm scared. And these might not ring true for you, but yeah, just whatever your feeling is, just connect to that. This fear. I'm feeling stuck. It's overwhelming. So someone said they keep burping, and that's actually really interesting because that's a key sign of energy moving. We get physical sensations happening in the body, releases of physical energy as emotion moves. Fear of failing again. So sometimes this might start bringing up some memories, and in the second process we'll do a bit later on, we'll talk about some of those memories, and we might even explore them and get some resolution to them. So that is coming. Fear. So just whatever, hopefully just keep focusing on the feelings, and the tapping either gives you something to focus on while you're with the feelings, or it can actually, and what it normally does is start to release the feelings, and you might start feeling lighter as you tap. And strange as it may seem, as you focus on these negatives, then the positives can actually start to come in. Okay. Is anyone starting to notice anything shifting in how they feel? Interestingly, tapping on I can't do it gives me a positive feeling of lightness, and I've now got the energy to tap. Caroline, I can't do that, but you might have to rejoin just with a first name. Okay, so just so just connect to just see how the feelings are going. Claire has come up with fear of success. Someone's had an aha moment, re cause and effect. Lots of interesting. Some things, some positive stuff is coming up. So we just keep tapping, and again, I just want you to connect to the feelings, whatever's still there when you connect to that inner reason. Fear of success. What's the danger if you succeed? What's that going to mean? Strange though it might seem, this for tapping and focusing on the negatives can start to shift things. So fear of being stuck coming up now. Fear of being stuck. One of the things that happens for so many people is feeling stuck, and that can be stuck physically in a situation, or stuck, unable to move forwards, or whatever. Okay, so we're going to do, I think we'll do a few more minutes of tapping, just a couple more minutes tapping on whatever the feelings are. Yeah, really interesting there. Someone feeling a fear of rejection because intellectually aware, have a lot to offer. Not having time and busy life to achieve what I want. So there's a real belief there. That fear of rejection because aware of intellectually of having a lot to offer. That's the classic, that's the subconscious mind overriding the conscious mind, where you've got a lot to offer, but there's something from the past, that fear of rejection. So really worth exploring, and that would be great to look at a bit later on. And Joanna, that's very interesting. Some tears came, and also a few smiles. Now, tears are good. As we're often told not to cry, but tears can be a really good thing. So sick of others having things happen easily. So what's the emotion attached to that? With some jealousy or disappointment. Just tapping and noticing all of these things. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you to keep tapping now throughout the rest of the call, because these emotions that are coming up, they can continue to process as you continue to tap. I think that's very powerful. Okay, really interesting to see what's coming up now. Possibly, if feeling numb, may have dissociated from something. If it has brought something up to the surface, or just subconsciously deciding not ready to go there, and that's completely okay as well. Fear of success due to disapproval, but no longer the person disapproving, no longer relevant in my life. So that's interesting. Okay, I'm just going to invite you, if you're still feeling in some difficult emotion, just keep tapping with that as we continue. Okay, right. So now, but the next stage is to have a plan. And this is a plan for when you're actually trying to get whatever it is done, where you can leave a lot of space. But what it is the idea is, if the inner state or your fear comes up, or whatever is difficult or challenging for you comes up. So if X happens, I will. And you can give yourself a simple solution that you're going to start to actually create should this come up for you at any time. So if fear happens, I'll take a deep breath and see if it's still there. If I get overwhelmed, I'll tap. It could be I'll take a break and go for a walk. So if sadness happens, I'll allow myself to be sad and accept it, and be kind to myself. So actually about not trying to push away whatever it is, whatever the emotion is, or whatever the sensation is. Okay, Dallas, hi. Not too late. We're going to continue, but we've just done one big tapping process. We're going to have a second one a bit later on. So you might want to catch the replay, or you might want to just watch and connect to what's going on. Okay. So yeah, create a plan. Actually, if an emotional state comes up, I will. So yeah, if I freeze, I'll take a breath and just be kind to myself. If I'm stuck, I'll go for a walk. That's one that I use because it's very easy to just get caught up in zzz, and then go for a walk. Normally tap while I'm walking as well to help myself through whatever it is that's going on. So yeah, you've got a plan to move forwards. So I'm going to share this in a worksheet form that you can use a bit later on. It keeps disconnecting. Don't know if that's at my end or there. Right, okay. So now you can use both your positive and negative thoughts and feelings to start moving forwards. I know it might feel a bit clunky because it's the first time that you've used this process, but the more you use it, the more valuable it will become. It's a really good way of getting into the detail of why you're stuck, rather than looking at something as an entire problem, breaking it down into all of the practical and all of the emotional or internal reasons why you're not able to move forwards with something, and then using that as your steps to move towards whatever your objective or your outcome is. I want to talk now about how do you actually get clear on what it is that you truly desire. We're so many of us are just focused on day-to-day living that we don't necessarily look at the things that we desire, or maybe don't think that we deserve them, or that we can even have them for whatever reason. So how do you get aligned? How do you actually get into alignment? Now, wouldn't it be great if you knew that everything that you wanted in your life was really aligned with you, and actually having a life that you really desire? And when you focus on these things, do they feel zingy? Do they feel exciting? When you've got these is it exciting, or are we looking at a list of shoulds? Have you set the objectives in your life are they things that you feel that you should have, things that you've been conditioned to have in your life? I think that so many people don't really know what it is that they actually want. And that's something that I've noticed through people who are often unhappy. And even when they've achieved things, they don't really know what it is that they wanted. So this is a problem that I've seen with goals. Now, goals is a word that doesn't resonate with a lot of people, yet it's talked about a great deal in the personal development world. How does that word feel? How does the word goals feel to you? Do you have goals in your life? And I think that they are a list of conditioned things that many of us have, basically. So we set these goals based on shoulds. Oh, I should get a job doing this. I should move forwards in my career. I should earn X amount of money. I should have a relationship that's like this. And they might not actually be in line with who you are. So feeling happier for no reason, that's great. That tapping can often do that. An energy has shifted. That's a reason. Yeah. So Sue, you've just nailed it there. Goals feel like what others expect you to achieve, not what I resonate with. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. They're off. A lot of people. They're for me. They're like a hangover from the corporate world that many of us have been involved in. I was involved in that, and you're expected to hit targets. There's this conditioning by society that everyone should want the same things, but do these really make people happy? Not particularly, I would say. In fact, they can be the opposite. So people can have goals that are miserable to them. They could be society's goals or other people's goals, and we could be just living our lives trying to live out other people's goals. I think a great way of putting it is that you can climb all the way up to a top of a ladder and then realize that you had it against the wrong wall all along. Didn't really fit in with the life that you desired, but you just never allowed yourself to really experience that desire. So this can either result in people achieving what they want and then realizing it's not what they want at all, or self-sabotage because these things that you're obsessed with actually moving towards are they're not in line with you, riding on the coattails of other people. That's wrong wall. Ace. See, this is it is this stuff is blocking people, and we know that there are a lot of living other people's dreams. At the extreme example, for example, the beauty pageant kids in America having to live with their parents, living vicariously through them. Now, we all, I guess, as parents, those of us who are parents, we want things for our children, but it's important that they actually have the say and get to express who they are and live in that way. I think that's incredibly important. And society, things like the schooling or the schooling as it's becoming. No, there's many fantastic teachers who do their best to not make education like this, but it's in spite of the system, not because of it. So the things that we are conditioned through the media to want, perhaps through a religious upbringing. If we had a religious upbringing, there can be some positives in it, and there can be some difficult aspects as well. Yeah. Okay. So Sven, men choose to be motivated from not enough money, doing something which has nothing to do with purpose. So motivated by fear, not by love. Now, as I said earlier, that motivation with fear can be a fine thing if it moves you towards, but if it's a fear of not actually living your purpose, that's a better motivation than a fear of, having to hold down that corporate job, never seeing the family or whatever it is. So, yeah, I think we've talked about this already, but we're busy people these days. Life is incredibly busy. It's not natural for many people. And there's so much doing, that people aren't having time to be themselves. So I don't know if anyone is resonates with this. Can you retrain your amygdala? Well, tapping is shown to actually calm the amygdala, and yeah, over time, it is something that I'm sure, I don't know if you can train an amygdala, here boy or here girl, but I'm sure that you can actually, through tapping, you can calm your amygdala and release yourself from that. So I was a human doing, not a human being. That's changed now. People just moving from one thing to the next. And, even now we're seeing this even with the children. It's like, children who they're at school all day and then they go to a class every single evening after school. They might have a different activity. So getting obsessed with doing, they're not having the time to be bored. That's a poem from Helen. Not all have to do, some just need to be. We can't all be the same. We need difference, you see. I like it. Yeah. So, so things are so serious, but wouldn't it be great? How good would it be if you could loosen up, have some fun, and be truly free in your life? So this is a saying that I really like, using the whole box of crayons, by my retreat partner, Michael, who is a shamanic practitioner, and he introduced me to this concept of using the whole box of crayons, and I just think it fits in really nicely. It's about actually really knowing who you are and what makes you tick. Now, how good would it be setting your objectives for your life and the behaviors in your life, which I think is even more important than the objectives, from knowing what really makes you tick rather than what you've been told. Living and acting in line with that as much as possible. So if that first thing is your values, so knowing who you are at a deep level, and then your values, and by that I mean the states of being that you really appreciate, being able to live and act in line with that, how great would that be? As much as possible. Of course, there's admin in life. Some of us like admin, I'm led to believe. But you can act in line with your values as much as what's possible, and from that be able to create a beautiful vision for your life, which actually does draw you forwards. That would be really good, wouldn't it? So that when you actually think about these objectives, it's buzzing. Now, we've talked about using your entire emotional range to make it happen, so that things aren't forced. When you're feeling negative or finding something that's difficult, you can check in, and if that negative thought could be showing you that something's not in line with you, so wouldn't it be great to be able to make good decisions like that as well? And this is, I find that in the personal development industry, there's a real focus on changing who you are. Don't know if you've seen this. I certainly remember at the start of the year, there was all of the New Year resolution emails going out. Well, are you going to change yourself this year? How are you going to be different? But I don't think it's about that. I think it's about actually celebrating who you are and moving forwards and being who you are, and shedding the conditioning that's stopping you from being who you are. So, life was exciting, looking forward to what's coming your way. Wouldn't that be cool? like these two looking out the window, they know something good is coming their way. So I just want to introduce what could be possible if that's okay with you. Yeah, well, that's interesting, Caroline, what you said. You're happy with you, not just the stuff that you have to live through. So, yeah, I just want to introduce something that I think is really important, is knowing yourself, getting to be yourself, and then freeing yourself. And what this is a way of actually stopping being conditioned, releasing yourself from the old beliefs, finding out who you truly are, and then living that on a practical way so that life becomes exciting again. Now, if it's okay with you, I'd like to, just introduce this. Is a group program that I'm going to be offering starting next week. So this is the aim of this is, as we've talked about, how good would it be if you were generating a deeper self-awareness and able to actually live in line with your values. If you are clear on your objectives, inspiring, motivating for you, and how you could achieve and move towards them. So looking at habits. Now, habits is really important. People are focused again on goals, but they're not looking at those tiny incremental changes. And what your habits actually are is how you show up in the world. So from an outer perspective, habits are you. So if you create habits which actually fit in with the values that you've got, then you are going to be, you're going to be able to move forwards in this way. So you can, with that, stepping into and using all of the aspects of you to transform your circumstances. So what we're looking at here is understanding your values, knowing who you are behind all of the limiting beliefs, creating inspiring habits that can, really support you rather than sabotage you in your life. And what I think is really key, as well as clearing the difficult stuff, which is important, is bringing freedom and fun on your terms into everything that you do. So starting to live in a way that's free for you, something that's fun for you. And, there's problems are serious. There are serious problems in the world. But what if the solutions can involve lightness and fun? When you clear some of that difficulty, actually moving towards fun. So just going to introduce this. This is how we do it. We look at 10 journeys into self-knowledge. The first one is aligning with yourself. And this is an exploration with values, actually getting to know yourself at a deep level. Find out what's really important to you, and then use that in the second journey to harness the power of those values. And that if values of a state that you want to move towards, then habits are the vehicle to get there. They're really important. And those tiny little shifts that you can make on a day-to-day basis can just be absolutely awesome in moving you towards actually having those experiences and experiencing more of the values. From there, creating this vibrant, vital vision for your life. So it's based on your values rather than a vision based on goals, which then naturally creates exciting and inspiring outcomes for you. Now, outcomes, although the real change and the thing that is really important is how you become more yourself, the outcomes are important because they give you something that's tangible, something that's measurable, in the world. And when you've actually, so in this program, we look at creating 3 outcomes which actually really fit in with the habits that you want to create, the values that you have, and the vision, and then moving towards them and being really excited about them rather than them being things that you should have. And then, and of course, then taking the action. So actually being able to look forwards day by day, week by week, taking inspired and exciting action to move towards them. So with that, we need to stay true. And the 6th journey is all about what we measure is what we treasure, and actually starting to keep shifting step by step the habits, actually having these behaviors that move us towards those outcomes. The next part is stepping into the looking at the beliefs. So the next 3 journeys, really key. Self-belief showdown, actually looking at those I am beliefs that might be holding you back, and then looking at how you can explore and change them. And the reason we start looking at beliefs after creating these outcomes, these inspiring objectives, are because these can really help you to move forwards. Helen, great, thanks very much for that. It was I really enjoyed running that one, and now I've turned it into these journeys, and it's an even richer and more exciting course this time. So so we're looking at the beliefs. We're looking at your window on the world, the beliefs that are in the world. The world is dangerous, the world is scary, those kinds of things. Looking at clearing your conditioning. I think this is really key. These are the big global and collective limiting beliefs that can hold us back. And how you can trust yourself. So this is about your intuition. Now, intuition is really key. We're told that you have to trust your intuition, but what if your intuition is actually the fears and the beliefs that you are reflecting out into the world? So many people I've found, they see that their gut feelings, they keep showing them what they have already believing, basically. So through exploring these beliefs and actually releasing yourself from them, then you can truly trust yourself. So these are the 10 modules, which are self-learning and happen weekly throughout the 3-month course. So the aim of it is that you're going to actually deeply know and appreciate yourself and enjoy your full range of thoughts and emotions. You'll get really good at making decisions. I mean, you'll understand what's in alignment with you and when an objective's false. So based on conditioning, and you won't need to take that, or you won't even feel inclined to move towards those things anymore. You can achieve or significantly move towards 3 objectives. That's a key part. And often way beyond that, in fact. But if we have 3 things, then it's going to be exciting for that to actually happen. Develop the ability to experience fun and freedom in all aspects of life. I think that's really key. And create an outer experience of life that matches your own true inner world. So by getting to know yourself more, being yourself more, and actually having that outer experience of life that starts to match as your reticular activating system in your brain starts really encouraging you to manifest those things in your life. So in addition, there's to the modules, there's 12 live group sessions. Group work is super powerful with EFT. There seems to be a collective energy that means that things get cleared really quickly. So come together every week to resolve any stubborn blocks. And there's going to be an opportunity to work one-to-one with me during those calls, as well as live group tapping exercises, guided visualizations as well. You don't have to share. One of the beauties if you don't feel comfortable sharing in the group, you can still get amazing results due to something called borrowing benefits. And this actually, if you don't know EFT, you might not have experienced borrowing benefits, but what borrowing benefits can do is it tunes you in to your own issues while listening to other people work on theirs, and you actually gain resolution and an ability to move forwards just by tuning in to others working on their issues. So makes group work incredibly powerful. I find possibly even more powerful than individual work, and often much more, much more able to be accessed by many people. And even if you can't make the calls live, the borrowing benefits still works very effectively. So, yep, of course, there'll be a private support group, which will be in Facebook. And this is a place where I'll be able to be every day to where you can also connect with people on a similar journey. And yeah, borrow benefits rock. They do indeed. So there'll be support available pretty much every day in here, as well as those borrow benefits calls. But it's not, the program isn't Facebook group, so you don't have to be involved in it. It's just an extra thing that can help you if you decide that you want to go ahead and work on this stuff in more detail. Then there's some bonuses. I'll just go through these quickly. If you are a tapping beginner, you'll learn how to use tapping to shift difficult emotional states, clear emotional residue associated with past events. I'm going to come on to some of that in a bit, and resolve day-to-day stress and quickly become calm, and much more as well. So I'm also going to include some advanced tapping techniques for anyone. These are ones that I've found to be really valuable for self-help, and these are a lot of fun. There's a lot of humor in these, and anyone who's worked with me before or realize that humor is really key to this stuff. So actually parodying beliefs, parodying problems, these are great ways to move beyond them. Using paradox, so making the problem seem bigger than it could possibly be, it magically disappears. So going to be bringing some advanced techniques in. Right, so does it work? So I've just got a couple of this is Helen, who felt, this is what she said, she felt really stuck in her life, in particular in creativity and help. And and using these techniques, taking part in these in this program, she was able to get some work published as a writer. She was able to make some great moves in health as well, and some other great outcomes. I'm not going to share them all on here, but the ones on here, as you can read on there, she was able to be more productive, able to clear through blocks, make changes, and most importantly, stick to them, which I think is absolutely essential. And this, by the way, is stuff that you can use for life. It doesn't just go on for the 12 weeks of the course. Now, this is someone else who I've worked with using these processes, actually working one-to-one, but really fitting in with what the message of this course is. And I found this on a Facebook page the other day. I didn't even know he'd written it, so I asked if I could use it yesterday, and this made him feel good and use all of that knowledge to alleviate himself from negative and unhelpful thinking. And one of the key things he says here is understand how to use his negative beliefs and thoughts for more positive purposes. So it just fitted in so well with what this call was about today. I just had to share it. Caroline, there are, of course, there's external circumstances, and sometimes these things we can they can cause, they can be very difficult to deal with, and but not everyone's ready for help. Obviously, not everyone's ready for support. Okay, so yeah, just to say, if you ended up feeling confident in making good decisions, how good would that be? You had one new opportunity to move forwards. Perhaps you ask someone out, or you had a right. Okay, so screen's frozen. Okay, so you had an opportunity to move forwards in your life. Yeah, maybe you asked someone out on a date where you'd been scared to do that in the past, or you went for an interview that you weren't ready to go for. How good would that be? If you start putting yourself at the center of your life rather than being a people pleaser, as Claire's saying here, change your self-beliefs and then others change around you. Would that be worth it? If even one of these things, how good would that be? So just want to, kind of come on to some more tapping in a bit. I just want to talk about the investment. So this is stuff that I've done one-to-one and with groups, working with nearly 1,000 people on realizing and creating their dreams. Working one-to-one, it's easily $3,000 or $4,000 worth of work to get to this sort of level. And also, as I said, group work is really powerful due to the shared experiences and the emotional journey. And the daily support brings many new opportunities as well. So it's that ability to connect, get advice from your peers, people on the same journey, very powerful. And this is the first time I've run this as a big group program. I don't know, I'm not saying big, but there's going to be some direct input. So opportunity to really be involved as this all unfolds. So I just want to quickly go through everything that you get. To get the 10 journeys delivered over 12 weeks, to really get into alignment, build a beautiful vision, develop supportive habits, and clear your old stuff. 12 group sessions, which are going to be really powerful in moving forwards and clearing those blocks. Private support group, so that you've got help every day. The tapping bonuses, the tapping for self-help, brilliant borrowed benefits, how to make the most of borrowing benefits, advanced tapping techniques for self-help, affirmations, the real secret in how to make them work for you. That's something which is really interesting. It follows along the lines of the power of negative thinking, but you can make affirmations work really well. And lifetime access, so any updates that happen, you will have lifetime access to. So it's about $4,000 in value. And yeah, it's worth it for people, but I'm aware that that's a lot. But today, and on this webinar and afterwards, if you join, it's $997 if you pay in one go. So it's about £750 for 12 weeks, or 3 monthly payments of $377. And it's giving you all of this plus lifetime access and any updates. So I'm going to offer for the people on this webinar only, because this course is going to be available for the next 5 days for anyone to join till we start the next group. But anyone who wants to have an extra bonus, there's going to be a special bonus that I include, which is available basically from now. It's going to come up. 12 people will also get a 90-minute one-to-one session just to really resolve anything that those extra things that keep them stuck, or if there's anything that needs some one-to-one help with. Now, everything you need is already in the course to really get to know yourself, be yourself, and free yourself. But this is just an extra additional opportunity to accelerate your progress through any stubborn blocks, gain clarity on any area, or connect even more powerfully to that life transformation that is really going to make a big difference. Okay. Okay, right. Okay, so now we're going to do the next tapping process where we're going to do we're going to actually go deeper into some beliefs. We're going to do a guided visualization based on matrix reimprinting. And then after that, we're going to do going to have some questions and answers as well. So what I'd like to do, great from Helen there, worked on abundance, and on the last day got an unexpected windfall, 3 times the cost paid. So yeah, when you shift your energy, start getting clear on what you really want, then these things can happen, and I just think that's really great. Okay, right, so yeah, so we'll do this second tapping round, and what I'd like you to do is, I don't know if you've still got anything left over from that previous session, but if not, you can look at another negative thought or limiting belief that you might have in your life. So just start tapping again, and again, of course, the disclaimer applies here, so you have to take full responsibility for whatever happens. And now it's time to just start tapping. And what I'm going to ask you to do is just think about something that's, again, not going right in your life, or not feeling good. Could be a negative thought that came up in the last bit, or it could be anything else, anything that is bothering you. So just connect to a thought, and we'll do this as a guided process. So you can just do the tapping and close your eyes and just relax. And I'm just going to give you a minute to come up with something that's negative or difficult in your life. And when you've got something, just, if you've not already closed your eyes, then just close your eyes and connect to whatever the feelings are that come up when you think about whatever that thought is, something that's going wrong in your life or doesn't feel quite right to you now. And just be tapping and connect down to the feelings in your body. Notice what those feelings are. Maybe it's a thought like, oh, it's too difficult for me. I'm too lazy. I'm not good enough. Whatever it is. As you think about that thought, notice the feelings, notice where they are, notice the color, notice the shape, notice anything about them. And if there was a color that you could bring into that feeling, it would mix and merge with it, lift and lighten and release it, what would that color be? Just bring that in now. Take that colour in through the top of your head, connect it down into the feeling while you continue to tap. Just let it do whatever it's going to do. And I want you to send that colour all around your body, that more positive colour. Just doing whatever it does, going into every cell. And then back into the feeling, or whatever's left of the feeling that you had. I don't know if it's done anything or changed anything. Just surround it with that energy. And then send that back, imagining a timeline for your life. Just send that positive colour shining down that timeline like a light. Just shining on a time when you felt that before. Whenever that might have been. Just see if you can get a sense of an earlier time of your life where you felt the same feeling that you feel about that, whatever that negative thought is. And just seeing your younger self there. If you can get a sense of them, maybe you see them, maybe you feel them. Whatever's going on for them, I want you to just do whatever needs to happen to keep them safe in that moment. So perhaps freeze anything else that's going on around them. And then just introduce yourself when you're ready to your younger self. Just surround them in the positive colour, or whatever positive colour they need, just to give them a sense of safety, letting them know that actually things are going to be okay. Just spend a few moments tapping and allowing that colour to do what it's going to do. And if you aren't actually connecting to them right now, that's okay. Just continue tapping, just continue to bring that coloured energy into your body, and just trust your subconscious mind to do whatever it's going to do. And then if you are connected to them, just let them know that you're here to help them now, and just ask them what they're feeling. What difficult feelings are they feeling? And if they'll let you, ask them if you can just tap on their fingers or send some coloured energy to them to release whatever the feeling is. To just start shifting that stuck emotion, that stuck sensation that they're experiencing. Spend a few moments tapping with them. listening to whatever they say to you, letting them know that you're here with them and you're connected to them. They're always connected to you now. And I want you to just ask them what they need to feel safe in this moment. Maybe just being connected with you enough to support them now, or it could be some energy that's going to be with them so that they know that they're safe. But what we really want to find out from them in a moment is the belief or the decision that they made in that moment. So what's their negative thought? What's the negative thought that they're experiencing in that time about themselves or about the world? Just see what they tell you. And maybe there's something that you can help them with so they can see things in a different way. What would they need to not see that belief as true? Whatever they decided in that split second, in that moment, in that time. Just spend a bit of time with them, see if there's anything that could help them to see things differently. I don't know if that belief or thought that they had was the same as the one that you're having now, or if it's a deeper one that's behind it, a different layer, a deeper layer of belief. And what I'd like you to do is just let them know that, just ask them whatever they need to feel safe in this moment. If there's anything else that can help them right now. And just bring in whatever colour can support them with that. So I want you to bring in some coloured energy, a vibrant, bright colour that supports them to feel whatever was absent from them in this moment. So whether they need safety or warmth or happiness or everything like that, whatever it is, just bring in all the colors that represent that and just surround them with that colored energy. And then bring that into your body as well. And bring that into your heart. Just let it flow through your entire body. And just letting them know that you're connected with them forever now. And if they ever need to talk to you, or if there's anything else that could help them, that you're here for them. And that now they've got this energy, things can be different for them. Invite you in your own time, when it feels right, to just come back, bring yourself back, and open your eyes. Okay, how's everyone doing? There's a bit of a delay on here, so you might take a bit of time to come back. Okay, all right, so some people starting to come back, really powerful, great. Bless little me. And of course, you can go deeper with that process, and this, you can resolve more stuff and actually start using that to move forwards. Yes, so it will be on replay. Yeah, it's all going to be on replay. Okay, so we're going to come on to some Q&A in a minute. So, Caroline, why cramp? Is the cramp still there? Okay, very patient, good relief. Okay, so yeah, good to hear some so yeah, so cramp. It could represent, I don't know where, right, left foot. Is it, so it's a muscle cramp in the left foot? Could be to do with feeling stuck in moving forward, or now this is something from meta consciousness, which is about understanding what different parts of the body mean, but it could be there's a metaphorical meaning, toes, not feeling grounded perhaps, or not feeling confident in yourself to be grounded, maybe. Might be worth, I don't know if getting up and walking around on it might help. But also you can apply some tapping and explore the actual physical sensations. But generally, generally with the muscles. Okay, Chrissy, so feeling a tad disconnected, might be that, so yeah, wondering if it's a common problem. There's so many different responses, and it's not, I don't normally see people getting cramp during tapping situations. Chrissy, if you're feeling disconnected now, still just keep tapping. Don't know if it was feeling disconnected from the process, didn't get back to anything, or just haven't, not feeling like you've quite come back. Just keep tapping, maybe placing your feet on the ground, just connecting yourself down into the ground. Put your hand over your heart. Just take some, taking some deep breaths, bringing yourself back in. Sometimes it can feel a little bit discombobulated after these things. Bit otherworldly. Yeah, again, just keep tapping. It's okay. Yeah, but putting your feet on the floor, taking some deep breaths, hand over the heart, just bringing yourself back in. Okay, so we're going to come on to some. I recommend continuing to tap. You can be non-specific tapping, just like I've been doing all the way through. So I say taking a drink of water helps to bring you back. So yeah, could try that. Another thing that can help is if you cross your hands, put them, just bring them together, put them together like that. You might not be able to see this very well, but then you bring them through like that, and then cross your feet. That can help. And just continue to tap as we go into the, if anyone's got any questions. Just going to share the offer again. Love you to join us for the Know Yourself, Be Yourself, Free Yourself course that's starting next week, if anyone would like to. It's going to be, I'm really excited about this. See some great results from the people who did it last time, plus people I've worked with for many of these processes. And the first 12 people to join during this webinar or afterwards will also benefit from an additional one-to-one session with me, where it just gives an extra opportunity to move forwards on anything you may not want to share, or have some additional clarity. Chrissy, glad to hear feeling better now. Okay, so has anyone got any particular questions? I think you can now speak if you want to, or you can just type the questions in the chat if there's anything you want to know. Okay, price in pounds. Well, so it's $997. So I think it's about 760, 770 pounds. Just one moment. Yeah, it's about 700 and $780, in fact, at the moment. Okay, so Donna, in the first round, I had red alert, big siren. Second round, amber alert, very white, way back. Makes sense why I'm distracted easily, and goals make me sleepy. And abundance feels feelings of pain and loneliness. Yeah, continue to work on this. Needs resolve. Now, the good news is that even the awareness of it can bring a great shift. Okay, so yeah, just any more questions? Anything that you want to know about? Been great. Really appreciated you staying. Oh yes, I was going to share the worksheet for the power of negative thinking process, the one to actually work on your actions. So I'll just do that now. Okay, well, this call has gone on for a long time. I'm very glad to have been able to go through this with you all. Thank you so much for taking part. And this has been my first one of these webinars ever. So yeah, I'm glad that it happened. And yeah, if there's anything, if you've got any questions, anything you want to know from me, just drop me a line. So lots of love to you all. Have a fantastic rest of your night, day, whatever it is for you, wherever you are. And yeah, I think, okay, so why does working in a group, why is it stronger? Because there's a collective energy, it can make things more powerful because we all share similar emotional range. And even if someone's got completely different problems than you can still identify with their emotions, and the empathy and the connection that we have in a group when you're tapping seems to make things work really much more powerfully. Gary Craig really noticed it. So Joanna, how can you contact me? By my email. My email, I'll just type it in now so you've got that. So yeah, sam@eftnow.co.uk is the easiest way to contact me. So even though we don't know who we are, yeah, well, that's energy. So it's slightly different in this format, but when you're actually listening in and everyone's talking, well, so energy has no boundaries because we're talking about over cyberspace. It's more powerful when you're actually witnessing it working with other people. Tonight was guided sessions. Slightly different, but when you're working in a group and people are actually talking, and it's slightly different than this because it's on a Zoom call rather than on a webinar, which is a bit more, you don't really see everyone except me. You pick up a lot more because you're getting you're getting you hear what people's issues are they're working on, and you don't you don't have the same experiences as them, but you've got same emotional range. So that's what happens. And there's lots of different things in the course. We'll go a bit more into borrowing benefits, to specific module on it, so you really can see how to pinpoint how to get the most out of it. But I'm glad you enjoyed the guided processes. It's amazing what can come out of it, and I'd love to hear what happens. So cheers, Gareth. You're very welcome. Thanks for sticking around. Has anyone got any more questions? I think I'm going to end it there. Well, I'll give 30 more seconds if anyone's got any more questions, and then we'll call it a night, morning, afternoon, whatever it is for you. But just want to wish you all lots of love. Have and I hope these processes are great for you, and I hope maybe some of you choose to join me on these next stages and go deeper, and really get into that self-knowledge, self-awareness, and purposefully, with practical self-knowledge, creating a life that you truly love, step by step, bit by bit. So that's me and all of you. Gonna end it now. Over and